Good morning, guys. Good afternoon. Good moment in time. It's Ria on the run here. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Just stopping real quick to share a quick message. So I'm going to make it snappy because Lauren and I are coming on at 11 right here on Temple of the Sun to do some readings for you all. But what I really, really wanted to just share really quick with what Spirit has been dealing with me is to do with acceptance. Spirit is saying this is. Basics, back to basics, information we know, but as we know, those sneaky little dust bunnies can sneak in little areas, and we're so used to it, then we're oblivious to it. And what Spirit wants me to share this morning, guys, is acceptance. And I was really, really hit, really strong through contemplating, meditating, reflecting on my own energy. And my energy, I realized, in a nutshell, is I have to accept. I have to. I have to accept my my lack of accepting. I have to. I accept my struggle with accepting, and it might project into another person. I really, really, really want to accept them, but I have a really, really hard time accepting their ways, and so then I beat myself up saying, oh, I really shouldn't be feeling this way. I'll go through the motions, masking it a little bit. Yeah, I accept the way they are. But then deep down, there's this little nugget, this little bolt, this little fastener in me that's saying, but you really aren't. You really aren't. So you really aren't accepting the way you feel in your non-acceptance, and that's okay. And what Spirit was saying to me this morning is the more that we accept our non-acceptance, the more that we can accept areas where we just find ourselves struggling with acceptance. Surrender to that. Accept that about yourself, because a lot of times we'll go through the motions. We know it's all about self-acceptance, self-compassion, self-love, and then we can feel a little bit guilty or shameful that there's still a piece of us where we're triggered by that outside circumstance. And what it's doing, it's a gift that shows us, hey, you need to accept your non-acceptance, and that's okay. That's okay. Because I had this conversation with Caleb this morning about how we are all just projecting each other's energy, but not necessarily in the exact way. Like, say you aren't accepting somebody's way of life because you're not that way of life, but what you're really accepting is your non-acceptance about that. So you hold yourself up to such a high uh, expectation that anything that isn't in alignment to that expectation will be reflected through relationships, experiences, situations, and others that makes you say, oh my God, this again. What am I not accepting about myself? I accept that's that person's journey. But what the sneaky part is what you're not accepting is you are holding a high expectation of yourself. Like I know as a teenager, I would say, oh, I would never smoke pot. I would never do this or that. I'm way too good for that. That's for whatever. We would label them as what potheads and stuff like that. But what I really wasn't accepting is not that I wanted to do that, but I wasn't accepting my non-acceptance because I knew that in itself wasn't right as well. So this gets a little tricky, guys. It gets a little tricky. Let it resonate as it should. But the basic message is just accept where you're not accepting. And in that you dissolve that density that you keep resisting, because I will notice it in my own personal relationships. Why do I keep attracting people that just seem the opposite of me? Well, the reason is they're accepting of themselves. I'll get so angry, or not angry, but agitated and triggered by somebody's low and this is just a human part, their low expectation of themselves. I realize I get triggered by where other people can just totally accept themselves. They can eat what they want. They don't care if they don't exercise. They don't care if they're judgmental. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a shit. And so what they're reflecting in that projection is the way that I can't just chill like them at some level, because we have this concept of unconditional love. Well, what is unconditional love? It is total acceptance, but acceptance of the other, it doesn't even matter what the other is, because they're simply projecting the acceptance of yourself. And I'll get mad when people are family members are sloppy or do things half-ass or don't give a shit about healthy lifestyle or their spiritual development. In the past, I realize I don't do that as much, but I realize that, and I'm like, what the F? But what they were reflecting, it wasn't even about what they're doing, who they are, the way they're living. They were simply reflecting my own non acceptance of my accepting my own non acceptance. Okay? We don't need to fix it. We don't need to figure it out. We just need to accept it. Hey, that's okay. And my husband will even say to me, "What bugs me is what bugs you," he'll tell me, "about me is I just accept who I am." And then I'll have resistance and I'll say, "That's not true. I accept you." But what he was reflecting is an aspect of myself that I could not accept my own non-acceptance. But that's okay too. Surrendering to that and knowing that and allowing that human experience. So if you have certain expectations on how you want to live your life or who you want to attract as a partner, just accept that. Just accept it. That's okay. So it's always this and that. It's always a little paradox. It's through the accepting of your non acceptance that you can actually just be and live whatever your preference is. Is that not true? I still smoke pot. Oh my God. Yeah, I have nothing against that. I have nothing. Everything is in balance. My son Caleb self medicates, and I found myself just looking at him one day, and a lot of little incidences have been hitting up. And I'm like, oh my God, and I thought to myself, because it's not just evening, it's like all day long in the middle of the night and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, where the hell did I go wrong? And I was judging myself and I wasn't accepting that, boy, I can't accept my non acceptance. But I know in theory, everyone has their path, everyone has their processing, everyone is having their experiences. So I know all these things in theory. Yet some things still get to me. And in that case, it was my non acceptance or questioning or doubting how I was as a mother being projected. But I already know I did the best I could. But, we have those little glitches of doubt. And so people, relationships, children, they'll reflect those little doubts that we're still holding on within ourselves. And that's okay. Just accept that. Accept that, yeah, you have those moments where you doubted yourself as a mom or a wife or a partner or a child or a sibling. That's okay. So it's just about accepting areas where you have not been really accepting your non acceptance. And that's okay. Like, yeah. So it's just breaking all of that. And some of that is programming within our own childhood and how we were brought up, but also within every moment contains the information of infinite timeline, Spirit is saying. And sometimes we go through things because this is just an energy that we have come to play with, to bring into balance and harmony from that other timeline that we're still holding within as well. So it isn't to blame anybody on the outside or even say it's in this timeline, because within this timeline, through our heart center, and through every little bit of structure within us and cellular memory and light and atoms and molecules, we hold all of that information. We truly, truly are everywhere all at once. And we can accept that we don't have the answers. We can accept. As soon as we accept, especially for a channeler or a conduit or a healer, it's through our own self-acceptance that we open up to that power that is innately ours, those gifts. We open up to our own gifts and we can accept areas where we just can't accept. And I know it gets all mumbled jumbled. It gets to be almost tongue twistery. And what I noticed as I was examining this in myself the past 2 days, I've been getting headaches. And I'm like, holy shit, why am I getting headaches? Is it because I ate too many Whoppers? No, it's because I was in the mind trying to take control of the areas where I wasn't accepting it, apply spiritual concepts to those areas that I fight within myself, such as, okay, Marie, so why are you being triggered? Why is this being brought into your reality? What are you reflecting? Blah, 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 blah. Trying to find all the deeper truths and answers to it. But all I really needed to do is say, hey, it's okay that you don't accept that, or you're having trouble accepting. That's okay. And that's all it came down to. And then I could release that monkey wrench. Everything was getting all tied up and misconstrued, because even in our spiritual concepts of self-acceptance, I was literally getting myself mad because I thought, well, if I'm accepting them, why am I still being triggered? Why am I still being annoyed? Because I wasn't just accepting my non-acceptance. And then that creates freedom. But especially for all of you guys as master light blasters, master teachers, the more and more you can accept your own non-acceptance, the more you transmute all of those energies. They become fluid. It's like an out breath. It's like, soon as you know it's okay to accept your struggle with acceptance, then everything softens. And then that light permeates through you. And then you're embodying that unconditional love frequency. And then that is where your power stems from. Everything. And John Thaddeus Fiore and I were actually discussing this, realizing that how every healing comes from acceptance. So then knowing that, I beat myself up on areas where I'm not accepting, but all I needed to do, again, I know I'm repeating myself, is to accept where I'm not accepting, and that's okay. But then, you know what happens when you do that? You surrender, it dissolves. And then more of your God powers, I'll call it power. It's called turning pain into power. The pain of that is turned into power because then you are aligned to the frequency of your God self through acceptance of self, just accepting and surrendering to it. Even surrendering to, holy shit, that person really annoys the F out of me. That's okay. That's okay. Don't beat yourself up for having that thought. Just accept it and surrender to it. And then what does it do? It dissolves, which creates more light to flow from you, which creates a power, a power, power within you, a power of unconditional love. And then you have all these other gifts flow, all of this knowledge, all of this insight when you just surrender. And I know it's back to basics. I know we all know that, but there's still little areas in some little spot that we're still self-denying. Every healing comes from, yes, yes, absolutely, Moon. I know, and we know that in theory, but what we have come as a spiritual being of love and light, sometimes to apply it to the everyday circumstances is a little more trickier, walking your talk, at least for me, um, applying that. And I always have taken pride in walking my talk, so then I beat myself up when it seems to contradict, but there really is no contradicting. It's just accepting that fact, surrendering to it, and allowing it to play out. So it's combining what you know to be real, what to be true, with the physical being having to go through it, the necessity of the physical part of us to play it out, to anchor that energy. So we know acceptance is the base of all healing. Acceptance is pretty much equated to unconditional love. That's what it is. But life in the physical vessel gives us the opportunity to have that true experience. It is necessary for us. That's why we came. So it is necessary for us to experiment and play out self-acceptance, unconditional love, all those things that we know to be real and true through our physical body. And even knowing that brings peace and solace and freedom, because we didn't come here to live up to an expectation or a spiritual concept. We just came and showed up to live it, to be it. And I'm going to be the first to admit I struggle with that. And I always say, oh my God, I'm so judgmental. I'm so judgmental. But I'm not really judging that person. That person is just showing me where I judge myself. And I know we know that. I know the Mother Earth heart cards point to that concept all the time, day in and day out. And not to be hard on ourselves for even that basic, because that basic, we learned it from one little area, and then another circumstance will come up and allow us to learn it at an even deeper, more expanded level, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So we take one concept of self-acceptance, but then we have this whole array of different frequencies in which to apply it and experiment and play with that. So anyways, Lauren and I are going to be on at 11, and I just wanted to share that. And thank you guys for being here, and thank you, Moon. Grand Rising, guys. And every moment is really a clean slate, because I find the more that I wrestled with certain thoughts and theories with the projection of another person, say a family member or a loved one, the more that I wrestle with my theories and spiritual concepts of all of this, I was getting nowhere. It was more of a blame game. And when you're really, really close to someone on an intimate level, boy, it gets serious, because there's this running joke between me and my husband that I live and walk my talk in every way that I believe, but the one exception is except for when it comes to you. Isn't that the way? The ones that you're the closest to is the one where it really gives you a magnifying glass of yourself. So it's just awesome, and it's cool, and it's beautiful, and that's how we transmute the pain into power, constantly, just through accepting. So thank you, Moon. That is so true. Just accepting the pain, accepting for what it is, surrendering to even you not being able to handle it or being triggered by it. Then you can let it go. And then from that light flows. The energy softens through forgiveness. And we all know that. But maybe someone needed to hear that today. Kimmy, we seek perfection in ourselves and reflect that to others. Is that not the truth? That is so true. And we want that reflection back. And then when we don't get that reflection back through our own judgments of our own expectations, of our own preferences as a human, then we're actually you're just judging ourselves. It's just projecting that judgment back. It's not that we all came to be the same. It's just we're all rays reflecting aspects of each other. And it's all beautiful because the only true thing, the only thing that's really real is love. Everything else is an illusion. It's an illusion we came to create on earth to play out those energies, to transmute them, to anchor them into the physical experience through our journey. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it doesn't matter what anyone does. It does, as long as you accept it. I don't care with. Yeah, I don't care. It's all beautiful, and everyone has their individual experience. It's just reflecting. And it's okay to have preferences, Spirit says. It's okay to embrace your preferences. Because I always struggled with that too. If everything is okay, then is there no preferences? Or what am I here for? Who cares? Or why do I have my own personal preferences? But what is the little dog there? um, but it's all valid, but the physical part of us still wants those, still has those preferences. And that's good too. The Marie here on this timeline might have a preference of wanting to be here. The other Marie might want to stay in the house. And that's okay. It's all of it. And each one of us are always reflecting different preferences of different timelines as well. All the information contained in all of our timelines is available in the here and now. And we're always shown what we need to know. And it's never about the outside. It's never about the other person. It's never about where you thought you were backstabbed, betrayed, lied, any of that stuff. It's just reflecting those areas of where we need to accept our non-acceptance. All right, I'm gonna do it with that. I gotta get back or I'm gonna be late for Lauren. Thank you guys for sharing out. 11 o'clock we'll be on for doing readings. Oh, there you are, Thaddeator. There you go. Holy shit. So yeah, John, that class, yeah, if you guys haven't hooked up and signed up for one of John's classes on the EFT, it's all about acceptance. And when we were reading cards in that class the other day, I gained another whole perspective on the Mother Earth heart cards. And it was amazing. And yeah, so that class even itself triggered a lot for me and releasing and I'm reflecting. And initially I want to give myself shit when I feel resistance, but actually I got to accept my resistance and that's okay too. I accept my non-acceptance. How freeing is that? How awesome. How unconditional is that? It's okay. You don't need to accept yourself. Just accept it. Just accept that you fucking don't accept yourself. But in that, it dissolves and goes away. And then the real light of you can come through. All right, guys. Where are we? Where are we? May you all shine with the entirety of all the love and light that you are. Shoo!